Let's not beat around the bush here. This is not a very pro Gabby Hanna channel. In fact, you could probably make a compilation of all the times I've outright said I don't like her. But I do think of myself as a very fair person, and I do think credit should be given where credit is due. And it looks like in one situation, Gabby Hanna might actually be right. What's crack, it's Evangelina Scova, and today we are going to be talking about Gabby Hanna. And surprisingly, it's not going to be all negative. That's not to say it's going to be all positive either. But you've probably seen by now that Gabby Hanna released two videos. One is about 2 minutes long, which shows the timeline of her friendship with Trisha Paytas. And the other is the clips that were taken out of the podcast episode that she did with Trisha, along with some extra bits of inserted text and screenshots for context and extra information and things like that. Now, when this all came out, I was away, I was visiting my grandparents, there was other stuff going on at the time as well, and oh my god, my brain could not keep up with everything that was going on at the internet, so I just opted to not look at any of it. But this morning, I finally got a chance to watch the videos, to go over everything, and my opinion of it is not what I thought it was going to be. In fact, I think in some ways, Gabby Hanna is actually right. That's not to say she's completely innocent, and that is not to say that Trisha is completely the villain either. But I'm going to elaborate more of my thoughts in this as the video goes on. And I'm also going to be telling you about just one thing, one tiny thing, that it's not even tiny, I would consider it a big thing, one thing that Gabby Hanna has done to piss me off personally. By personally, I don't mean it was directed at me. I just mean I personally was pissed off by this. And if you have me on Twitter, then you probably already know what I'm going to talk about, but that's going to be towards the end of the video. Anyway, before we get into all of that, I would really appreciate if you please subscribe to this channel, and while you're down there, you can turn on all notifications with that little bell button right beside the subscribe button. You can make sure it's all and not personalized, because I don't know what the personalized setting does. And if you want to, you can also check out the Patreon or the memberships with the links in the description, where you can get extra benefits, like the podcast episode that just went up on the Patreon. It's available for all patrons, so check that out if you want to. Last thing, check out Pride merch. I've rambled about it in every video, so I'll just leave a link. I won't show you it again. Check out Pride merch. Anyway, now let's actually get on with the video. I want to preface all of what I'm about to say with something very important. Now, I have defended Gabby Hanna in another situation before. I don't know if I still stand by my defense of her to this day, but I have defended her before. So it's not really something new, but most of the time I'm, the opposite of defending her. Chastising? Scolding. Bold, Gabby. Stop that. But I do want to say that although I may be defending her in some ways in today's video, that does not take away from everything else wrong that she has done. And I'm only saying this because I find with the internet as a whole, not with individual people, but just with the internet, it tends to be a black or white situation, a very, this person is all good or they're all evil, and there's no in between. If you defend somebody, somebody thinks that you're clearing them of all their wrongs, which is not what I'm doing. The Jessie situation still happened. We all heard that phone call. She's done a wealth of other terrible things. She still attacked Rachel Oates for no reason, despite sending her own book and then getting mad when it didn't get a positive review from Rachel. There are countless bad things that we can talk about. But if we only ever talk about the bad things and never kind of give her some credit, that gives her fuel to say that we are in fact villainizing her when she's not always wrong. So let's actually talk about this. This video is going to be my thoughts and my opinions on this whole thing. So I could be wrong. You could disagree with me. That's fine. So like I said, there was two videos. One was a timeline of her friendship with Trisha, and the other was the taken out clips from the podcast, which showed Trisha and Gabby kind of having it out, arguing, and Gabby also edited in some screenshots and extra stuff and context and things like that. Basically, this whole thing is about Gabby's insistence that they were friends and Trisha's insistence that they were never friends. And up until now, I was very on the side of Trisha here, but I have now changed that and I'm now on the side of nobody. Because there are a lot of instances that Gabby shows where it really does look like Trisha is either misremembering or choosing to misremember certain scenarios. For example, I shorthand wrote down a conversation between them. So we're gonna listen to it the way I wrote it. Trisha, we met once after my birthday party. Gabby, we met a couple of times. Trisha, when? Gabby, I don't want to say online. I don't want to start drama with other people. Trisha, we never met another time. Say when we met and cut it out. Gabby, at Joey's surprise party. Trisha, shakes head confused. That's how I wrote this. Gabby, then you went on Shane's podcast and talked shit about me, and then Shane texted me all the stuff he said about me and Ricky. So basically, this is just one situation where Gabby is saying, hey, we did meet all these times. Trisha is saying, no. But then Gabby shows screenshots of them talking about how they met at the party, or they at least saw each other at the party. And it's very weird because, you know, after all this conversation, Trisha does say, okay, well, whatever, we met at the party. And there are a lot of other texts that were shown between the two of them that show them being friendly together. Like, they are communicating and they're texting quite a bit. But I do understand that texting somebody and being friends with them, or being friendly with somebody and being friends with them, are two different things. You can be nice to somebody and have some lengthy conversations, but you're not their friend. I have chatted with lots of people that I would not consider friends. Although I have a problem with that. I have this weird anxiety around at what stage do you call somebody a friend? Probably some of you have this as well. I cannot be the only one, but it's like so stressful. It's like, wait, if I call this person a friend, are they going to be like, ew, we're not friends, we've talked like 5 times? And if you don't call them a friend, are they going to be like, I thought we were friends, why are you being horrible? It's such a stressful thing. Please tell me, does anybody else get that? Because if I'm the only one, there's something wrong. I can't be the only one, right? That sounds like something that would be fairly common. So I can see how it can be confused on either side as a friendship. But then we also have some situations that Gabby points out in her videos where Trisha is referring to their friendship, calling it a friendship, which is where it gets a little bit confusing because you can say that and not mean it, but the question is, did she not mean it? Because what I find interesting is that Gabby also said something in the cutout part of the podcast where Gabby asked, well, why are you tweeting all this stuff about me then? And Trisha says, because you're a character online that I'm commenting on. And I find that particularly interesting because Trisha has referred to numerous times seeing themselves as a character on YouTube, in their books and things like that. And I'm just wondering, at this stage, when Trisha was referring to their friendship, was Trisha's mind seeing that as Trisha the character having a friendship with Gabby the character, rather than them actually having a friendship, and that's why all this confusion is happening? Or did Gabby just never see a friendship? Because in a more recent time, they refer to it as a relationship with Gabby, which does not denote a friendship. You have relationships with people you just know, you know? Usually when you say, oh, I have a relationship with this person, it just means you're not friends, you just don't know what else to call it. Because they had texted, they had talked a lot, they had talked in depth about things, but that does not mean that they're friends. But really, I am very curious about that character thing. Is that where this confusion is all happening and where it's all stemming from? But to Gabby's credit, she does show a lot of screenshots of them being friendly with each other and Trisha saying that they're friends. And you have to wonder, is Gabby entirely wrong in this situation? I mean, the question of why she's keeping all these screenshots and why she's still fighting about this is an entirely different question, because it is kind of insane that she's still going on about this, and it seems like it's not helping her to keep saying me and Trisha were friends, me and Trisha were friends. It seems to be harming her more than it's actually helping her. And to be honest, in my own opinion, I feel like she should just drop it. But that's my opinion. Also, I think considering Trisha has said that they want Gabby to leave them alone, maybe you should leave them alone because they're saying it's for their mental health. But again, I can't say for either of these people. It's a very confusing situation, and I'm going to tell you what I honestly think is going on. We both know that Trisha and Gabby are not the most honest and wonderful of people. We know this. And from watching the cutout bits of the podcast and looking at the text and Gabby's timeline, which obviously, you know, the timeline she put together is going to be biased for her side. But looking at all of this, it seems like they both twist the truth. We already know this. But they're both the kind of people to twist the truth slightly, so it's either the truth plus or minus some. But they're both doing that at the same time about the same story, and as a result, both of their versions of the story from all these twists and turns of the truth have become vastly different. And I genuinely believe that they both believe their versions of the story to be the right one, when in fact probably neither of them are. It's probably some merge of them or something in the middle or something like that. But I genuinely think it's just a result of them both twisting little details so slightly, and there's so many details being twisted on both sides that it just becomes two different stories. But so far the evidence kind of does point in Gabby's favor of them having some form of friendship, or what could definitely be conceived as a friendship. Maybe not the closest friendship in the world, and maybe it was just a friendly relationship rather than a friendship, but you can see why she thinks that. Again, this is all just my opinion. You can disagree. You're probably going to disagree with me in the comments, but That's just the way I kind of see this whole thing. Now, with all that being said, let's move on and talk about the thing that annoyed me. So I don't just keep repeating myself about the Trisha Gabby stuff, but do let me know in the comments what you think about all of it. So there was one tweet, or two tweets really now, that Gabby made, which really just bothered me, and once I read them for you, it's just going to become obvious why. Trisha Paytas projects so hard onto me that it scares me to my effing core that she incessantly says I want to murder her for no reason. Everything she's accused me of is everything she is. Trisha Paytas is a scary, dangerous woman. I am actually afraid of her. And then she adds a little screenshot. Projection is a defense mechanism commonly used by including people with narcissistic or borderline personality disorder and addicts. And if you don't know, Trisha Paytas has borderline personality disorder. Now this bothers me because she knows exactly what she's doing. Because here it says, commonly used by abusers, including people with narcissistic personality or borderline personality disorder. And that outright gives people the idea that, yes, are usually people with narcissistic personality disorder or borderline personality disorder. And it's disgusting, especially because Gabby Hanna kept calling herself a mental health advocate after she got diagnosed with ADHD, which I just have to say, being online and having a disorder do not make you a mental health advocate. I have mental health issues, but I do not call myself a mental health advocate. But if you are going to call yourself a mental health advocate, do good things for the mental health community. And don't stigmatize personality disorders, because we already get enough of that. I just think it was nasty, and especially because she doesn't realize that she's projecting as well. They're both projecting onto each other, and it's horrible, and I hate it. And then she goes on to make another tweet saying that she's scared of Trisha, yada yada. It's just nasty, and I hate it, and I'm just so mad that she did this, especially considering she calls herself a mental health advocate because she has ADHD. But here's a fun little idea. How about people online who claim to be advocates stop stigmatizing personality disorders? Thank you very much. And stop calling us abusers, please, for the love of God. That's not to say you can't call somebody, I'm just going to clear this up because somebody's going to fight me in the comments because they're going to misinterpret what I said. That is not to say somebody with these disorders can't be, and just don't paint all of us as keep it individual based, because somebody with BPD or NPD can be an somebody without it can be an or you can have somebody with a personality disorder who is absolutely lovely. Get it together. Thank you. Anyway, that's all that I'm going to talk about for today. I know I could have gone more into detail relaying the whole story for you, but I just kind of wanted to get my thoughts out on this one, so that's that. But do let me know your opinions on everything in the comments. Thank you. Don't forget to subscribe, turn on notifications, check out Patreon merch, all the stuff, links in description. If you ever want to know what to find from me, just go in the description. There's loads of links there. And you can also follow me on social media. Like, comment, share, and do all the things that I'm supposed to ask you to do at the end of the video. And have a wonderful day. Thank you guys so much for watching, and I'll see you in the next one. Bye.